In Psalm 96 and verse 9, we read, "Worship the Lord in the splendor of holiness. Tremble before him, all the earth." You know, sometimes I think when we think about the concept of holiness, we don't think about it as with its splendor, or as the King James says, worship the Lord in the beauty of holiness. We don't think about holiness being beautiful or splendid. We often think of it as being kind of cold and stark and a lot of rules that you can't, things you can't do or things you have to do in order to be holy. But God is holy, and that is beautiful. God's holiness is splendid. God's holiness is part of his nature, and it is because of his holiness that we can rest in the fact that he will always do what is right, because he is holy. He cannot do wrong. He cannot respond wrongly. He is unchangeable. And so we are to worship him in light of that beauty. So I would encourage you today, if you often think of God as someone that is harsh, as someone that is unapproachable, I would encourage you to think about the beauty of his holiness, the splendor of his holiness. And although the psalmist in the second part of that verse says, "Tremble before him, all the earth," the reason that we should tremble is not because we're afraid of what God is going to do, but we should tremble because of his holiness, because we know that in light of who he is and who we are, we're sort of like Isaiah in chapter 6, where he says, "Woe to me, for I am a man of unclean lips, and I come from a people of unclean lips." But God cleansed Isaiah, and God has provided a way for us to be holy through putting our trust in what Jesus did in his death and resurrection. God's holiness is splendid. Let's worship him in the beauty of that today.